Today we're going to have a look at something new from Darksword Armory. I've been a fan of Darksword Armory for quite a number of years now. My very first real sword was an early version of the Black Knight sword they have. They're a company that has continued to evolve. They take feedback from the sword community and they work with it. They recently, about 2 years ago, they started changing the steel, using I believe 5160 steel now for all their swords, all their Darksword Armory line of swords. I did a review of one of the new 5160 steel swords from Darksword Armory a while back, and they are really something. They are impressive. The only problem with, for some people, it's, they change things, they make things a little better, they go with it. It ups the production costs, and then that's reflected on the consumer, you and me. So what has happened now is Darksword Armory has commissioned a new line of swords under their supervision and guidance with a company in India. And they call this new line of swords the Herald Series. Basically what it is, it's another product from Darksword Armory that meets all of Darksword Armory's standards, but is a little bit more affordable for guys like me. So anyway, today I'm going to have a first look at one of them. Here it is. This is the Frederick III sword from Darksword Armory. Now, Frederick III, he was a 15th century ruler in Austria, Germany. He was also the Holy Roman Emperor at one time. But before that, around 1440, he was crowned King of Germany. And the sword that is in the Cluny Museum in Paris, France, apparently was his bearing sword. And it was manufactured at that time, 1440, around the time when he was crowned King of Germany. This sword is manufactured to represent that sword, the Frederick III bearing sword in the museum. It's really nice. I like it a lot. It has copper fittings, which is what the original in the museum has. It's manufactured, all these Herald Series swords are manufactured with EN45 steel. I don't know a real lot about EN45. I have read that it's similar to 9260. I've also read that famed swordsmith James Raw in South Africa, Raw Blades, makes all his from EN45. So take that for what you will. This is a good quality spring steel sword. It's manufactured to be fully functional, like all of Darksword Armory's swords are. Has an oak core handle, and then it's leather wrapped, like a lot of Darksword Armory's grips are leather wrapped and then stitched. That's what I really like about Darksword Armory, is going that extra mile to actually stitch around. This one with its copper fittings, copper crossguard, copper pommel, and this wire copper wrap around the top. It's all representative of the Frederick III sword in the Cluny Museum. Now, one thing that struck me when I got this sword is I look at this very nice ornate crossguard here, and the flip side of it is plain and flat. And I thought, what the heck? But then you look at the pictures of the 15th century Cluny Museum Frederick III sword, and that's how they made it. That's what the original is, like that. So just to be representative of that sword, that's how they made it. The website says this sword is 2.9 pounds. I have weighed it on my electronic scale, and it's just a little over 3 pounds actually. It's a heftier blade than, say, the newer 5160, some of the swords, but it's because of this thick cross section. It's got a diamond shape with a high ridge, but that's how the original is, so that's how it was manufactured. It is flexible, not quite as flexible as some of the thinner blades and some of the newer 5160 steel blades, because of this very heavy ridgeline of this sword, but it looks like it's going to stand up well. Unfortunately, the weather up here is terrible, so I won't be able to get some cutting in just yet with this, but I plan on doing some extensive cutting with this thing and even putting it through some rigorous beatings to see how well it holds up, because this is the first of this line. These swords come in at under $300, which puts them in the market value where most of us can actually afford them. Many of the swords that are coming out in this Herald line aren't available yet. They're still in production, and they're supposed to be out in early 2016, I think April 2016. Includes some Viking versions and arming swords and some other things that are all going to be in this price range, and I can't wait, because there's a couple more I want to pick up. Like I said, I'm a fan of Darksword Armory. I really like their products. Now here's another thing. All of these Herald Series swords come with the suspension system that's available for most of the swords from Darksword Armory. Wood core, fully leather wrapped and stitched. It's got a steel chape. This steel chape is, I believe, could be, it's made to look copperish to match the rest of the sword anyway. This is really impressive for the price range, because for this to come standard with this suspension system and scabbard, I have seen another company, which I won't name, but they put out an economy kind of class Euro sword, an affordable Euro sword that came with a suspension system, and so just a quick glimpse without mentioning names. This is their scabbard. Oops, I just squeezed it and broke it. Sorry about that. It's all vinyl. This is vinyl, plastic basically. This was all plastic. The cheap little belt thing is plastic. This was their suspension system for their, it's just horrid. I scrapped that. The entire scabbard and belt I scrapped on that particular sword from that other company. This is in a similar price range. The sword is amazing. I really like this, and to get this all leather scabbard and suspension system, I mean, for these swords that come in at under $300 is really something. I'm very impressed, and like I said, I can't wait for more of them to come out. And stay tuned, because as soon as the weather breaks outside a little bit nicer, I'm going to get out and do some extensive cutting with this thing and give it some shit kicking.